Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Oh, that sounded gross. Something got caught in my throat. Um, yes, I am back this week. I told you I was going to be back last week, and then I took another week off. Why? Well, let me tell you why. Allie recently started going back to work. I was still out injured. I just got cleared by my doctor on Halloween. Today is not Halloween. Today is what, 2 weeks? Maybe about a week removed from Halloween. And I'm able to go back to work, so that's good. I'm excited after 3 months of not working at all. Allie started working in the middle of last month. And the good thing is she's only gone for 2 days. She leaves pretty early on the first day, and then she'll get back in the afternoon or later on the second day. What that means for me is I watch the baby. And I've had help from Ma and Pops, Jorge and Carla, Allie's parents, because they live I think they live like 4 minutes away from us, 4 or 5 minutes away. But I've been trying to, do other stuff, clean, go to the gym, walk the dogs, doing a bunch of other stuff, and it's been a little difficult for me to try to figure out when to record. I could record at night, but it's always a toss-up when I'm here alone, because sometimes the baby sleeps all night. Maybe he'll wake up once, I feed him, and then he goes back down. Other times he's waking up every 30 minutes to an hour. And then those nights are rough because I go to bed when he does. So let's say I go to bed at 8:30. And then by 9, he's, fussing. Okay, so I go put him down, and then that takes maybe 10 minutes, and then I go and I try to fall asleep, and then he fusses again, and then that goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then sometimes I don't know I know he's not hungry. He has a clean diaper, all that good stuff. And I just don't necessarily know how to make him happy. So then there's times where I lay on the couch with him. So I lay him on me, I make sure he's warm, and I'm on the couch, and then we pass out for 3 hours. And then he'll wake up. And then I feed him. Well, I change him, I feed him, and then I put him back down. And then same thing happens again. Then he's up again, and then, in 30 minutes, and then back and forth. And I'm like, damn, And sometimes I think, what did we do last time? There's a lot of what happened last time? What did we do? Can I recreate that? But he's a baby, and he's gonna do what he wants, and he can't verbally communicate with me hey Dad, I don't like this, or this is bothering me, or whatever it is. And it's a little bit overwhelming. I'm not gonna sit here and go oh my God, it's so overwhelming. No, because Allie does this when I was working and I was gone. But it's definitely a learning process. And unfortunately, the podcast, you guys suffer because I'm not able to do it. As of right now, I haven't been able to do it every week. But because I feel now that we have a better handle on it, a better schedule, when he goes down, all that stuff, we've been figuring out, these are the times we can do this or that. And now that I'm going to be working, it's going to be easier for me to put out episodes. It might be a lot of on the road episodes, but nonetheless, I'm going to be able to record. So that's good. All right. So let's get into the episode. Remember, guys, follow me on Instagram at The Jesus Show NTO. Facebook, The Jesus Show Not That One. TikTok, at The Jesus Show Not That One. And then you can find me on YouTube. Type in The Jesus Show Not That One or The Jesus Show NTO. And then you can email me your questions, comments, and concerns. thejesusshownto@gmail.com. If you notice, I don't have a Twitter handle anymore. And let me tell you why. Twitter recently has turned into a fucking cesspool. It wasn't necessarily the greatest before I got off it, but I'm sure we all know at this point some billionaire bought something for 44, I think he bought it for 44 billion, 45, 44 billion. It was valued at 15, so, I mean, I don't know how smart that was to completely overpay for it. And then I believe his Tesla stock, or his Tesla company, maybe even SpaceX, they started losing a bunch of money, so then he tried to back out of the sale. And then Twitter sued him, and they're like, nah, motherfucker, you owe us. So then he went through with the sale, and then he fired a bunch of people, like the people that are supposed to control the misinformation and all that shit. He fired them because, you know, he's such a smart guy. But in his pure genius, like everybody else loves to call him, like he's a genius. He forgot that he's supposed to, California law, you're supposed to give your employees 60-day notice before you fire them. And that dumb motherfucker fired him on the spot. And now they're all suing him because you're not allowed to do that. The guy sounds super smart. And then, like, the day he took over, a bunch of people started just tweeting out the N-word. Like, oh my God. And the reason why I laugh is the people that like him, not everybody. I'm not saying everybody, because not everybody who likes the guy is a piece of shit. But I guess I would say that there's a lot of people out there that like him, and they are pieces of shit, and they felt as if they had free reign to just start dropping the N-word the moment he took over. And I thought to myself, nah, I just don't need to be on there. And another driving force, like that was a small driving force for me, because I was like, man, this platform seems to be like it had been shitty. Now it's turning like to dog shit. And I feel like it's going to turn into just utter, like a cesspool of just shit. And I don't really use it anyways. That was the biggest driving force. When I saw this happening, I was like, do I even want to stay on that fucking platform? I was like, nah, you know what? I'm out. So I just deleted it. And then Allie had told me, she's like, oh, why are you deleting it? I go, I really don't use it. I forget to tweet. I forget to like check shit. I don't use it. I don't use it as much as Instagram and YouTube. But then again, I don't use my Facebook or my TikTok. Allie was taking care of all that. I don't think she's doing it anymore. Mostly because she's trying to, focus on the baby. So, yeah, I don't know. I might get rid of Facebook and maybe TikTok. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyways, some of these topics I'm going to talk to you guys about, they've been in my show notes, and clearly I haven't recorded anything, so I haven't got them off my chest. So there is a few things on here, mostly the MLS Cup playoffs. What MLS playoffs I want to talk about, and then an incident where Cristiano Ronaldo left the bench early. But those are two things that have passed, like almost. Well, the Cristiano Ronaldo thing, I think about a month ago, and then the MLS playoffs, they just ended. And when I wrote all this stuff down, the first round had just finished. So I am gonna talk about something old, but bear with me. All right, let's get into the first one. Let's see. It says, "Do you guys share poop pics and group picture, or do you guys share poop pictures in group text messages?" I don't know if I've talked about this already, but if I did, I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about it again. Myself, Greg, Robert, I believe Nathan, Jake, Carlitos, I think Rex. I think it's 7 of us, 7 or 8 of us. We have this group chat, which we've had this group chat for 5 years, maybe a little more. There was somebody else in our group chat, and then actually there was two people in our group chat. The one guy, he decided to leave the chat because I started talking, not just me, but a couple of us were talking shit on the last president, because we were like, this fucking clown. And that person was like, oh no, he's really good. We're like, but he's not. But we never, like, we've always had different opinions on stuff, which is a good thing. Excuse me. You don't want to live in, I think they call it an echo chamber, meaning you say something and everybody around, yeah. No, you want to have different opinions. So for me, I think it's good because it challenges myself to, like, well, do you really feel that? Do you really, believe in that? And then when somebody says, like, I'm like, yeah, because of, and then there's a conversation. But it's always been in our group chat. It's always been fine. Like, there's been a couple times like, you're a fucking idiot. And then it turns around and then, we're all talking about, like, buttholes and stuff. And it's fine. But this particular person got super upset, which is odd because the people on the right normally call the people on the left, snowflakes, and you guys can't handle people saying shit. But from my experiences with people is when I tell them something, they get really mad. They get mad to the point where, like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, wait a minute. Isn't that what you accuse us liberal people of doing? Like, you tell us, oh, you guys don't like what we say, and you guys are just so sensitive. No, I'm not. You are. I mean, there was shit that was said, and so, like, one of the guys, hey, can you shut up? The dogs. Sorry. So yeah, the first guy peaced out quick. And we were like, okay, which was weird because it was just weird to, like, have somebody leave because, like, they couldn't handle us talking shit. And then the second guy left, I want to say just before the last election, maybe a couple months before the last election. Because he would, like, wake up and he would, like, he'd just text the group, the clown's name, like 4 or 5 times, like, cheering. Like, that's how you really wake up? You got problems, my man. Like, I've never woken up ever and, like, start Biden. Like, no. No. For you to celebrate a politician like that, you got fucking problems. Like when I see all, like where we live here in Indiana, I see all these flags and shit for the other fucking guy. And I'm like, dude, you got, like, I'm going totally off topic, by the way. Like they say they're not in a cult and they're not brainwashed, but Jesus fucking Christ. It seems like you guys are in a cult and you guys are fucking brainwashed. Because I've never have I liked a politician to put his fucking name on my car, on my shirt, on a hat, a flag outside my fucking house, a lawn, like nothing. So when I see that shit, I'm like, you guys, and it's weird. It's weird. Like there's this person that has, there's this guy that writes signs down the way, and like, you know, he puts signs outside. He's like, oh, Biden's fucking up. My man, what? And somebody else has this picture, and it's like talking shit about Biden. And I'm like, do you, like, why would you even put that? If you, like, you don't like the guy, fine. But now you're putting a picture of him, like, talking shit about him? Like, ooh. Are you owning the libs? Are you giving it to Joe Biden? It's fucking stupid. Anyways, so the second guy, he would wake up, he would, you know, text the group like, ah. And one time I just said, dude, that's fucking weird that you wake up and you do that. I go, you can live your life, this is America, you do whatever you want. I'm just saying, that's fucking weird. So then we started getting kind of in an argument. And then the rest of the guys, you know, they're trying to diffuse it because they're like, it doesn't make sense. And then he starts talking about Obama, and he calls him, I think he called him a porch N-word. And I went, whoa, man, like, why do you have to say shit like that? And he goes, oh, he said something to the effect of like, are you offended when people use the N-word? I'm like, yeah, man, because like it's a fucked up word to use. Like, don't use it. So then he tells me, oh, I tell my black friends, I call them that all the time, and I go, $1 million says that you don't call your black friends the N-word. He's like, yeah, I do, and they're cool with it. I go, $1 million, they're not cool with that shit. I go, and if they are, they may be, and I'm only, this is my, and I told them, this is my personal opinion, I don't know your friends. I go, maybe you do, but I don't know. Maybe they're the only black friend, and they feel like they need to say like, oh, yeah, I am cool with it, or they choose not to call it out because like, this fucking guy. But then he starts saying like, oh, well, it's my work friend. And I go, well, okay, I understand if it's a work friend, because a work friend isn't really your friend. Sometimes you work with people that you just, I just work with this fucking asshole. And you say, oh, my work friend. But maybe the other person doesn't really think that you guys are friends. Doesn't see you as a friend. They just see you as a coworker. You might see them as a friend. So then my brother, I think it was Greg, he like chimed in and he goes like, yeah, man, like you shouldn't be saying that shit. And then like some of the other guys were like, dude, like, man, chill, like really with the word, like really chill. And then he was like, oh, you guys are just fucking pussies. And I was like, hey man, if me saying you shouldn't use the N-word because none of us are black, right? If that makes me a pussy, fine, cool. So then he left. And I thought to myself, so the two guys who were all about free speech and all about, you know, people are too sensitive, were the two fucking pussies that left the group chat. All that to say is that we have this group chat that we share poop pictures in. And I think I did tell you guys the story. One time there was a family group chat before this shit happened with my cousin, and anybody knew. It was a couple Christmases ago, and I thought I sent the poop picture because I was wasted. So I mean, I took a pretty big shit, and I was like, oh man, Greg and them need to see this. So I sent it, and I sent it to the wrong group, and it was my family group. And there was people in there that I didn't know, like, just other people that I didn't know. Like no, I don't even know. Like I don't know who they are. And they got the picture and they were like, oh my God, that's so disgusting. How can you do that? I was dying laughing. And I was like, what asshole doesn't think that poop pictures are funny? Like, yeah, great. Here's my thing. Do you want to see it? No. But, like, you get it sent to you? I don't know. I think that shit's funny. And then Carlitos, he's a newer addition to the group. And he sends some pretty gnarly poop pics. But, hey, they're accepted. In our group, it's accepted. A lot of things are accepted. And I just started thinking, I was like, do other people have to do it? Because I've never thought of myself as an original thinker. I think to myself, when I have an idea, when I do something, when I think of something, I don't ever think like I'm the only person in this entire world that has ever done or thought any of this. Like, I think somebody else had to. Like, there's people out there that think like this. That's why I just think, like, man, do other people send poop pics? And my assumption is yes, they do. How do you guys feel about pills, like medicine? I've always hated pills. Ever since I was a kid, I'd go to the doctor, and I'd be sick, and my mom would take me to the doctor. And the doctor would, I mean, I can't remember at what age, but there was whatever age. The doctor like, okay, well, it's time to take some pills instead of liquids. And I want to say the first time I heard a doctor say like, oh, we're going to give you this medicine. And I go, is it a pill or is it liquid? And they said, it's a pill. I said, do you have a liquid? And they went, yeah, but the pill would be better. And I go, no, I want the liquid. They went, okay. So ever since then, I had always told the doctor that I want liquid. It wasn't until I took a medicine called Accutane. It was for my acne. I think I was in high school. I had to have been in high school. I think I was in 9th or 10th grade. And my acne was really bad. And I always thought to myself, as I started getting older, I was like, man, I think I'm just going to have this acne for the rest of my life. And I mean, I'd get juicy ones, just like, it was bad. It was like pimple on top of pimple on top of pimple. Then, I don't know how we heard about Accutane, but my mom was like, oh, try this pill. Or there's this medicine, so we went to go see this doctor. The doctor started giving me Accutane, and it was the pills. I know the pills were in different sizes, but I think like for the first 2 months you took one pill, and then it would change to another pill, and then it would change to another. I think it was like 3 or 4 different pills within maybe like a 6-month regimen of taking this pill. And you were supposed to take this pill every single day for it to work correctly, for it to eradicate or significantly get rid of your acne. So I went to go see the doctor, and then he prescribed it. We got it. And my mom was paying for it. And for example, it was like maybe $50 a month for my pills. And like month 2, I go in. The doctor's looking at my face, and he's like, this is odd. He's like, And if I remember correctly, he asked my mom to step out of the room. So she left. And I remember him telling me, he said, "You're not taking the pill." And I said, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "No, you're not." I said, "No, but I am." He goes, "If you were taking the pill, we would see a significant improvement in your skin. And there's no improvement in your skin. Like, you're not taking the pills." It's like, "Be honest with me." And I went, "Yeah, I'm not." He goes, "What do you do?" And I go, "When I'm supposed to take my pill, I put it under my tongue. I go to the bathroom and I spit it out." He goes, "Why?" I go, "I don't like taking pills." He goes, "Okay." He's like, "Well, you have two choices. Either you swallow that pill and you get rid of your acne, or you don't and you keep the acne." He's like, "But if you keep doing this, you're making your mom waste money. You're literally throwing money down the drain." So I was like, fuck. Like, all right. So I had to have a big boy conversation with myself. I was like, all right, here we go. Let's take this pill. So I started taking the pill. So then he started the medicine or the treatment over from day one. And then I started taking pills. And at first I would put the pill in my mouth and I would have to walk forward as I drank the water to take the pill, because in my head, as I walked forward, the pill would go down. Oh man, stupid shit I did. At one point I would put it in Jello. Now I can take most pills, but even now sometimes I have. As an adult, I have a hard time taking pills. But yeah, I've never been a fan of pills. Like Allie, she takes like 12 pills all in one without water. She just I took them all. Like, how the fuck do you do that? It's so weird. At least take them one at a time. Like, be a normal human. To take 12 pills all at once with no water, that's mind-boggling to me. MLS playoffs. Let's get into it. So, as of today, the MLS Cup playoffs are over, and LAFC is the current MLS champion. So it started with New York Red Bull versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati beat the New York Red Bull 1-0. Or, I'm sorry, not 1-0, 2-0. Which I thought in my head, fucking stupid. I don't like Cincinnati at all. I was like, those sons of bitches. And Red Bull was hosting. So I for sure thought Red Bull were going to beat them, but they did it. And then it was a Galaxy versus Nashville. And the Galaxy were playing home, and the Galaxy beat Nashville. Then I saw this game, Austin versus RSL. And Austin went down 2-0 quick, like within 20 minutes of the game. And then they came back, and I believe they scored the second goal, Austin did, in like the 93rd minute to push it to extra time. Then they went to overtime. 0-0, they went to PKs, and then Brad Stuver, I mean, he did great. I think he blocked two spot kicks, and then Austin ended up winning 3-1 in PKs. Orlando went to go play Montreal, which I was like, yep, that's a gimme. Montreal's going to win, which they did, 2-0. NYFC played Miami. Miami went up to NYFC to play. And that was another one. I was like, does anybody really? I didn't think Miami was going to beat NYFC. At home? No. Miami's not that strong of a team. They had a good season. They got into the playoffs, and they had a good run there at the end, but I was like, who the fuck thinks that Miami's going to win? No. So, like I said, they lost 3-0. And then Dallas and Minnesota, they played to a 1-1 draw. I saw that game. And then they went to PKs, and Dallas won 5-4. So then the next round was Philly and Cincinnati. Philly beat them. Then it was LAFC versus LA. I was rooting for the Galaxy. Ali was rooting for LAFC. Ew. LAFC beat them. And then Montreal and NYFC played. in Montreal. I for sure thought Montreal was going to beat them, and they didn't. NYFC came up. I think they beat them 3-0, which I thought was crazy. And then I saw Austin versus Dallas in Austin, and Austin beat them. Was it 3-2, 3-1? I can't remember what was the score, but Austin beat them. I was like, fuck yeah. So then for the Western Conference Finals, it was Philly and NYFC. And it was a rematch from last year, which I was like, okay, Philly's going to take it. And they did. NYFC scored first, and Philly was down 1-0, and then Philly came back to score 3. They beat them 3-1 at home. So then Philly was going to the MLS Cup. And then Austin and LAFC played in LA to see who was going to go to MLS Cup. And I had hopes. I had high hopes that Austin would win, and they didn't. They lost to LAFC. I think they lost 3-0. And then MLS Cup came about, and I was rooting for Philly. And it was, it had to have been one of the better MLS Cups in recent years that I can remember. It had everything. Like, LAFC scored off a free kick, and it came off the wall, came off the guy's head for Philly. Got past Blake, the goalkeeper. So it was 1-0. And then coming out of halftime, Philly scored. I think they scored on a free kick also. So then it was 1-1, and then LAFC scored. I think in like the 80th minute? 82nd minute? So the game's almost over, and you're like, oh shit. LAFC scored, and then Philly scored 2-2. Then they go into overtime. And then Philly scores. Was that after? Yeah. So it was back and forth, back and forth. The second half of the overtime, one of LAFC's defenders passes the ball back to the goalie, LAFC's goalie, and hung him out to dry. If the keeper didn't come to try to get the ball, the Philadelphia forward would have been on a breakaway. Like, it would have been one-on-one with the keeper, because nobody was around him. So the LAFC keeper had to come out. He put his foot in there, and he broke his... I think he either broke his leg or broke his foot, like broke his ankle. I haven't researched what actually happened to the keeper, but it was bad enough that Stuart Holden, during the game, he said, we're not going to show it because it's bad. And then when I saw the highlights of the game after the game, I didn't want to see that over and over and over and over and over again. But in the replay, they show it they show it happen, then they pan to the goalie on the ground, and he picks up, he grabs his leg by his knee immediately. He starts waving the bench like he needs help. And his foot, let's say here's his knee, he picks up his leg, so he's holding his knee over here, and his foot's like this. So I think that's why I think he broke his ankle, because his foot wasn't. It didn't look normal. It looked very limp, and I was like, oh my god. And it sucks for that player, for the keeper for LAFC, because I think he's a starting goalkeeper. I don't know if he's a starting goalkeeper or the number 2, but he's a goalkeeper for Canada, and he was supposed to be going to the World Cup. Well, now he's not going to World Cup because he broke something. So he got a red card because he was the last guy, and he took the Philly guy out in attempts to getting the ball and breaking something, unfortunately. So he gets a red card. So the backup keeper for LAFC comes in, and it was one of AJ's teammates. I can't remember the guy's name. One of AJ's teammates when he played in Miami. So he comes into goal, and he's in goal for maybe like 2 minutes, and Philly score. They had Philly had a corner kick, and then they recycled the ball, and they ended up scoring. So now it's like minutes. I think it was like in the extra time. So the 120 minutes have come, and I believe they added 8 minutes. And I think it could have been like in the 3rd or 4th minute of that extra time. LAFC goes down the other way. I think it was Latif Blessing. Was it Latif Blessing? No, I could be wrong. I don't think Latif Blessing came in. Anyways, somebody swings the ball in. Gareth Bale heads the ball in. 3-3. The place is going fucking nuts. So now they go into PKs. The first LAFC kicker kicks it, and Andre Blake guesses right. He blocks it. So I'm like, oh shit, I think Philly's going to take it. And the Philly guy comes up, skies the ball, kicks it over. He slips as he takes a kick. I'm like, oh shit. So the first round is 1-1, right? Then the second guy, I think it was the second guy, Martinez. I think his name's Martinez. He was the reason why Philly got scored on the first time. He gave the ball away, and then he committed a foul close to the box. So he fucked up twice, and then LAFC scored. So he comes up, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe he'll redeem himself. Right? Because it was Philly. No, LAFC, Philly. Wait, LAFC scored... Or no, they didn't score. Then Philly. Yeah, so LAFC comes up, and LAFC scores. So now it's 1-0, the penalty shootout. So now the Martinez guy comes up. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to redeem himself. He's going to score. He does this stupid fucking stutter step, which I hate. I hate when players do the stutter step on a PK. Because I feel like it takes them out of their momentum in the run-up, and then it gives the keeper, for me, I feel, a better chance to read where they're going to go. So he comes up, he does this stupid fucking stutter step, keeper blocks it. And then LAFC come up. They score. So now it's 2-0. Then the next guy for Philly comes up. Shoots the ball. Fucking goalkeeper stops that one. I'm like, what the fuck? Did these guys not practice PKs? Like, what the hell is going on? Then LAFC comes in. Their kicker. All he has to do is score. And they win. And sure as shit, they scored. Place is going wild. And it was just crazy, because then I told Allie and Jorge, because we were watching it at her parents' house. And I go, the MVP of this MLS Cup has to be the backup keeper. Has to be the backup keeper. Because if it wasn't for him, they would have lost. So we leave, we get back to the house, and Ellie goes, did you ever find out who the MVP was? I pull up Instagram, the first thing I see, it was him. And I go, yeah, of course. Like, there was no doubt that he was the MVP. So congratulations to LAFC for finally winning MLS Cup. Now, with that being said, relax. Just everybody relax. I understand you guys are excited, LAFC fans. I understand you guys are excited, and rightfully so. You guys, the team won the Supporters' Shield, and you won MLS Cup. Good job. There's only been, 1, 2, 3, 4... I think they're the 7th team in the entire time that MLS has been around to win it. DC United won it twice. The LA Galaxy won it twice. I think Columbus Crew won it. And maybe... I think the Wizards? when Kansas City was a Wizards. So LAFC would have been the 7th. I think my numbers are right. Yeah, so with that being said, you guys accomplished it this season. Great job. But just remember, just like Seattle fans, Seattle has 2 MLS Cups. Good job. But you guys don't have 5. LAFC, you have 1. You don't have 5. So, to get to the Galaxy's level, to get to DC United's level, to get to the DC United's level, you guys have to win at least 4. You guys aren't there yet. So you can't compare yourselves to those great teams. LAFC, you only have 1. Good job. You have 1. Great. And then when Seattle fans are like, "Oh, we have 2. Cool. You guys still need 2 more to match DC United, and you need 3 more to match the Galaxy. You need 6 to be better. So LAFC, you need 4 more to be on equal playing field with the LA Galaxy. You need 4. You have 1. You need 4 more. That's to be equal. You need 6 to be better than the LA Galaxy. You're not. Seattle, you need 3. You need 2 to be as good as DC United. You need 3 to be equal to the LA Galaxy. And then you need 6. Well, you need a total of 6 to be better than DC United and the LA Galaxy. So, Allie was telling me, she's like, "Why are you all salty?" I go, "I'm not salty. It just bugs me when a supporter group, when fans of one team say, we're the best. You're the best this season. That's it. You're not the best ever." Because again, the LA Galaxy, they're the best in the league because they have 5. Nobody else has 5 championships. The next team that has the closest or second would be DC United with 4 championships. I don't know if any team has 3. I'd have to look that up. I know there's teams. San Jose Earthquakes, they have 2. Columbus Crew has 2. Seattle Sounders, they have 2. Kansas City Kansas City Wizards, they have 2. Real Salt Lake, they have 1. Portland, they have 1. NYFC, they have 1. Atlanta have 1. I don't know. So there's teams that have 1, but like chill. LAFC, chill. Okay. Also, I feel very. What's the word I'm trying to find? I feel very attached to that situation, I guess, because my really good friend, AJ De La Garza, I don't know if you guys know him. He's a great defender. He played for the LA Galaxy, and he helped them win 3 MLS Cups. The LA Galaxy had 2 MLS Cups before AJ got there, and then after he played there, they had 3 for a total of 5. I think that's why I'm like, no, fuck you, fuck LAFC. Like, relax, guys. You guys need to sit the fuck down. Now, I've told you that I've been in fight with the LA Galaxy because of what they did to AJ. And I'm still salty about that. But because AJ now he went from the LA Galaxy to Houston, then he went to Miami. When he went to Miami, I was cooler on the Galaxy situation. And then when he went to New England, then I really cooled off. I still sometimes am like, fuck the Galaxy. But I'm a lot cooler. But if you tell me who you're going to pick, LAFC or the LA Galaxy, LA Galaxy hands down. Hands down. LAFC is just Chivas USA 2.0, but I will say LAFC is a lot better than Chivas USA ever was or ever will be. Because Chivas USA was they were a fucking joke. They were a joke of a team. So yeah, that's my MLS Cup stuff that I want to talk to you guys about. Okay, so I have this story. I walked the boys, me and Allie, we walked the boys without a leash. We walk them off leash because it's easier for us to not have to hold the dogs right next to us the whole time. Is it hard? No. We send them away for 6 weeks of training when we lived in Vegas to a place called All Out Canine? Oh shit. I'll find the name. All Out Canine? Wait. All Out. Yeah, All Out Canine. Okay. So All Out Canine in the Vegas area. We were told by some of our friends in a German Shepherd group that we would go and walk and hang out with. Like every Saturday, we would get together. We wouldn't always go every Saturday because, if I was flying or Allie was flying. Sometimes we didn't make it. But the group would meet every Saturday over at the Summerlin Mall. And there was many times when we met up with them, with our German Shepherds. Other people, they had their German Shepherds and, maybe a pit bull rescue. And it was just a fun time. It'd be like 20 of us with our dogs just walking around the mall, and then we'd all have breakfast at this one place. It was very nice. And it helped us socialize our dogs because the boys weren't very nice to begin with. So in that group, they told us, hey, you should, if you're thinking about training your boys, send them to All Out Canine. They're great. Parker and his team, they do amazing. So we did that. So we sent them away. They were gone for 6 weeks. And since we had gotten the boys during COVID, the COVID lockdown, and then we started working, we had to have opposite schedules. So Allie would leave on, a 3 or 4 day. I don't think she ever left on a 4 day. But let's say she would leave on a 3 day, and then she'd get back, and then I would leave. She would get back, and then the next day I would leave on a 3 day. So it was always opposite schedules, so we always had somebody at the house to watch the boys. When the boys got trained, both of us were always gone. We were rarely at the house. There was times where we left at the same time. There was times where I would come in from a trip and then Allie was leaving that night. Like if I came in the afternoon, she was leaving at night. Or if I was leaving in the morning, or if I was coming back in the morning, she was leaving in the afternoon. If she would come back in the morning, I would be leaving in the afternoon. Because it just felt weird to be at the house without the dogs. So we're like, well, let's take advantage of this and just fucking work as much as we can. Which we did, and it was great. So we got the dogs back, and we started working on off-leash stuff because Parker had told us, I worked with him with off-leash stuff, and if you guys want to do that, you're going to have to put in the work. And okay. So just before we left Vegas, I started doing it out there. And they did great. And then when we came here, I was like, let me see if they can do it. And they've done amazing. The moment I call them, they come right back. Sometimes I have to hit their little device. They have a TINS device, I think it's TINS, not TIMS, TINS. So we have control of them. So one morning, I left the house. I always carry their leashes with me just in case. I don't use them, but just in case. There's sometimes where I see a dog, like if we're passing by the square, and there's dogs on our side of the street, and I need to, I just want to make sure that nobody gets in a fight or nobody goes after anybody. I put them on the leash. I put them on the opposite side of wherever the dog is coming, and then everything's fine. So this particular morning, I left the house. I believe, Allie was home. So I take the boys. We come out of the house. We make a left towards the square. Everything's fine. The boys go a little ahead of me, but nothing too crazy. And they love chasing squirrels. They like almost biting squirrels. There's been a couple squirrels where they do make the squirrel squeak because they do bite them around their body, yes. But they haven't killed any of them. But they like chasing them. And I feel like a lot of the squirrels around here are fucking stupid, because we will be about maybe 2 feet away and the squirrel's still just chilling. And then the boys go after the squirrel, and then the squirrel finally decides to go up the tree. That's why when I see or I hear the boys get a squirrel and make them squeal, most likely in pain, I have no sympathy for these fucking stupid squirrels, because I think to myself, you guys saw us, because they will look at you big this, and they look at us, and we get closer and closer, and sometimes I'll go like, hey, I'll try to make noise to make the squirrel go, but these fucking things won't. And I'm like, okay, well, if you get hurt, that's on you, buddy. Like, that's not on me. So we get to this park that's down the way. The boys are running around, and they're playing. Then we go towards the back of the park, and they see a squirrel, and they, I always make sure nobody's coming. The area is clear of nothing except for the squirrel, and then I go, okay, go get him. And then they run. And they almost get the squirrel. They're barking at it and they're jumping, and I'm like, all right. We get to the intersection where we cross the street where the middle school is, and there's a grass area with trees, and there's a bunch of squirrels in that area. And I tell the boys, go get them. So they go, and they're running, and it's good for them because they get some good exercise. They sprint. They're like, I'm gonna get some squirrels. So then we keep going. In front of the middle school, there's like some rolling little hills. There's some trees. A bunch of squirrels hang out there. So I give them the command, go get them. So they go get them, and they're like running around and running around and running around. They love it. We keep going, and now we're at the back of the middle school. And Apollo was pooping. So let's say here's the sidewalk where the middle school ends. Like here's one side of the sidewalk, and then this part, cars come in and out. So we walk here, and then let's say over here's the house, right? So we start walking this way. Halfway to the house, Apollo poops. So I'm picking up the poop, and I see a squirrel over at that person's tree that's just in their yard, and the squirrel's chilling there. So I'm not super far from Thanatos, but he's stalking. So I check the playing field. Nobody's around, and I go get it. So he runs. He jumps at the tree and doesn't get it. And then I ha, and then I tell him, okay, come here. So he starts coming back, and I always walk around with one of my earphones in because I'm listening to a podcast, or I'll call my brother, and I'm just, we're talking bullshit. But it was 8:30 in the morning. So I'm listening to my podcast, one of the podcasts. I think it was either Two Bears, One Cave or Your Mom's House. I can't remember which one. Or it could have been Hey Babe. So I'm listening to it, and then I hear somebody screaming. I hear this lady. And she's yelling. I don't know what she's yelling. I don't know what she's saying, and I don't know who she's saying it to. So I can't hear her because I have my earphone in my left ear, and the screaming's coming from this way, right? So I just hear some. So I keep walking down the sidewalk, and some lady, like, forcefully opens up her screen door. Now, at this point, I'm at the start of the sidewalk where her property is, or where her house starts. So all I see is this lady push open this screen door, and she's incoherently yelling. And I'm just thinking, like, oh, what's going on? So then I hear her tell me, she goes, you need to put those dogs on a leash. And I went, oh, okay. So we keep walking. So, we keep walking by. She's like, I said, put your dogs on a leash. And I go, oh, they are. So I show her the clickers that I have. She goes, that's not a leash. And I go, it's an electronic leash. So I keep walking. Well, now she's walking down her walkway towards me and the boys. So she says again, put him on a leash. And I go, okay. She yells something else out, and then I go, isn't it a little too early to be drunk? I go, or is it pills? I go, doesn't matter, just don't you think it's a little early? So she's like, I'm going to call the cops. And I go, okay. I go, you can call the cops. I go, my name is Jesse. I go, these are my 2 German Shepherds. I go, if you tell the cops that there's somebody running around, walking around with 2 dogs that are not on a leash, you can tell them that it's this guy named Jesse with his 2 German Shepherds. I go, the police department, I'm sure, is well aware of who I am because we see the cops around here. We see the local cops. We see the sheriff. We see them all the time. And I've had a couple of the cops, they go, hey, are they? And I go, oh, I have them on a electronic leash. I go, if they get a little too far, I hit the button. I go, and they've been trained and they're really good at their recall. And I go, I never am on the same side as another dog, especially when they're off leash. And when I do need to pass a dog, I put them on their leash. That's why I have my leash. So there's a lot of precautions and responsible things that I do to make sure that I don't ever get in a situation where my dogs will attack a dog or even somebody. Even when somebody's coming, like walking towards us, I always cross the street. I go opposite of where that person's walking. Or if I'm walking up on somebody, I cross the street. Like, our dogs aren't just walking loose, going up to any and everyone. That's not how this works. There's times where people ask, hey, can we pet the dogs? And then one by one, I'll let them say hi. And any form of aggression, or when the dogs show me, like, I'm not sure about this person, I go, no, we're done. Come here. And I call them back to me, and they come back, and then we keep walking. So they don't have free rein. Like, they're very good at walking off leash. They're very good. And we do it every single day, which is an opportunity for me to better my skills as their owner, to have them like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. You better, no, no, here we go. So I tell the lady, yeah, no, call the cops. Go ahead, like, feel free to call the cops. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, the cops, she is well in her, what am I trying to say? She has the right to call the cops on me if she wants, to have somebody come talk to me. And if the cop were to come talk to me and say, hey, listen, man, you need them on a leash. Sure, I have the leashes right here. Let me put them on a leash. Like, I'll comply if somebody tells me, like, you need to do this. But if I plead my case to the cop and, like, hey, look, man, like, I do this because, you know, I don't know, maybe they'll tell me, like, yeah, okay, don't worry about it. Just don't pass by our house anymore. Whatever it was. So I was, you know, I told, like, yeah, go ahead. Like, I don't care. But I keep walking away. And I told her, I said, I'm going to keep walking away now. Because I'm not trying to engage with her because she seemed, I'm telling you, she seemed either drunk or on pills. So we start walking away. Now we're past her house. And she starts walking back up her walkway. She's mumbling some stuff. And I can't hear her because I have my earphone in or my headphone in. And again, I'm not trying to engage with her because all I know is that, okay, she's pissed at me. I'm just going to keep walking away. I'm not trying to, like, start this. Like, I'm not trying to start a situation. Well, then as we start walking, Thanatos is on my left side. Paul's on my right. Thanatos turns around, and I feel him, like, hit me. Not hit me, but, like, I feel him move. So as I look down, I see his hair, and it's all up. He turns around, he gets low, and he starts going towards the lady, slow, like he's stalking her. And he's showing his teeth, and he's growling. When I look up, this lady starts walking towards us. And not just like walking, she's aggressively coming towards us. So I put my hand up, and I said, very loudly, I said, you need to stop right there. I go, you need to turn around and go back into your house. I go, if you step any closer to me, I go, my dog will bite you, and I'm going to let him. I go, and he's going to fuck you up. I go, then do you see the other dog? He's going to bite you and fuck you up, and I'm going to let that happen. I said, so you're going to have 2 German Shepherds tearing you apart, and I'm not going to stop them. Just so we're aware, I said, because now you're approaching me in a threatening way. I don't know what you're going to do or what you want to do. So then she tells me, I'm going to go in and get my husband. And I go, you're more than welcome to bring your husband for him to get fucked up too. I go, but you need to not step any closer. I go, my dog, and I'm pointing at Thanatos, I go, my dog is about to fuck you up. I go, because he's protecting me from you, you crazy lady. So then I tap Thanatos on the back, and I go, come here, puppy, come here. So I start walking back. Apollo at this point, he turns around, his hair's up, he's growling, and I'm like, great. So now I have their clickers in my hand because I don't want them going after her if she's not taking any more steps towards me, which she wasn't. So then she turns around. Well, she starts walking backwards. She's like, I said, you need to shut the fuck up and go inside. So, she keeps going back. Then she says something else. I was like, you crazy bitch, go take another pill or take another shot. So then she goes back inside, and then we keep walking. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I get home, and I tell Allie, I go, hey, something happened on the walk today. And she's like, oh, what, the boys get another squirrel? I go, yeah, but some crazy lady started yelling at me. She's like, what happened? So then I told her, she's like, oh my God. Now, when I go that way, I don't pass by her house. At night, I will. Because I think by the time we pass by, we'll pass by at like 7, more like 8, like after 8 p.m. We'll pass by her house. But like, no lights are on or anything. And I also tell Allie, I don't think if she were to see me and she's not drunk or on pills, I don't think she remembers who I am. But like during the day, I don't pass by our house anymore. I still go that way. I'll cross the street and I'm on the opposite side, and I don't let them go after any squirrels around that area. So yeah, that is my crazy lady story, and I think that's a good place to end this week's episode. Like I said, I'm gonna start recording more. I'm going to start also trying to bank some episodes just so that the day that they're supposed to come out, that they do come out and they're able to come out. And again, guys, thank you very much for listening to the podcast, for watching the podcast. Thank you for putting up with me and sticking with me, even though it's been now 3 weeks since the last time I put out an episode. Same thing that I've said before. I'm just gonna try to be better. That's all I can do. Remember, tell everybody you know. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell your brother. Tell your sister. Tell your friends. Tell your cousins. Tell your coworkers to listen to the Jesus Show, not that one. And I'll see you next week.